like to give the weave. You know, I like to.
You like to weave things in.
But when you do the weaves, and you have to be very smart to do weaves. When you do the weave, look at this. Just in this one thing, we're talking about little pieces all over here, but it always ends up home. No, it comes back home. For the right people. For the wrong people, it doesn't come back home, and they end up in the wilderness. You're not a Kamala person. You're a Khabib person, but you're not a Kamala person. Nobody's going to know who Khabib is, but.
They know who
he was not bad, right? That guy.
He was phenomenal.
But that's your kind of
your
person.
weave is getting wide. We're getting wide with this weave.
But isn't it
I want to bring
better?
it back to
because I'm basically a truthful person, but and frankly, I do a thing called a weave, and there are those that are fair that say, this guy is so genius, and then others would say, oh, he rambled. I don't ramble. If I start a story, what you do is you weave things and you do it. You have to have certain things. You need an extraordinary memory because you have to come back to where you started.
Yes.
A weave is only good if you come back.
They would give you credit for that.
That's true.
That you could go all the way over here and then get back.
I can go so far here or there, and I can come back to exactly where I started. Now, someday when you don't come back to where you started,
you're Biden.
Then you say.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. This is John Vega with TotalRestitution.com, and what's on my mind this morning is, some current events. Now, I'm here in Colorado Springs, distributing literature and doing house sits, and What's on my mind is
head south toward Lake Avenue.
The Charlie Kirk fraudulent staged assassination. Now, most people think I'm crazy because I don't believe Charlie Kirk is dead, and I know he's not dead. And his entire death was staged using very sophisticated hologram technology, computer graphic imagery, and green screening, and there was a trap door underneath where he was assassinated. And the only reason why this is important, because I had some people say it's irrelevant. No, it's not irrelevant. Bottom line is Charlie Kirk was groomed from the time he was a child. His father was the chief architect or president of the architectural firm that built the Trump Tower, which was built and completed in 1983, 10 years before Charlie Kirk was ever born. So Charlie Kirk's father, he already knew Donald Trump.
Head southeast toward Lake Avenue.
Has been in the plans for decades. That's why that movie Snake Eyes, which is really another way of saying Satan's eyes, is nothing more than a movie that was planned and screenwritten by Satan himself, and basically designed to condition people to what's going to happen in the future. So people are probably wondering, why would Charlie Kirk stage his own death? And I can only tell you this, that there's powers that are in play that
head northeast toward Lake Avenue.
Amendment of the Constitution of America. They hate it. And they're trying to ruin it. They're trying to destroy it. They're trying to pretend that the Freemasons that founded America were Christians and that we're supposed to have a mandatory Christian religion in America. So basically they want to undo all the work of Roger Williams, and Roger Williams was a man who suffered greatly in the 1600s at the hands of a corrupt church.
Head southeast toward Lake Avenue.
The Puritan Church. The Puritan Church was persecuting Roger Williams because he taught that you can't force people to go to church. Bottom line. That's the essence of his teaching. And Jesus would never force anybody to go to church, and the Puritans were trying to force everybody to go to church on Sunday, and he was like, no, your church isn't pure enough for me. I can't go to your church. And so then they wanted to arrest him. And they tried to arrest him, and he had to run. And guess who took him in? The Native Americans. And so the Native Americans took him in and protected him, but he did suffer. And he slept for like 14 weeks without a bed in the wintertime in New England, Massachusetts. So he's the founder of Rhode Island. And he ended up dying alone, but he did live a long life. But he never got over that abuse and the experience of living in the winter without a bed. And so he died alone. The last time somebody saw Roger Williams alive and the time they found him dead was about 3 months. And that's why when you look up Roger Williams on Wikipedia, they don't know the day that he died. But his enemies were surrounded by their friends, and yet it's because of Roger Williams that we enjoy our freedoms today. We have the privilege of choosing to go to church or not to go to church. And he did a lot of writing on the subject of church and state. Bottom line is, he believed that the state is supposed to enforce the last 6 commandments. Honor your mother and father, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, stealing, bearing false witness, covetousness, all that stuff. So the state is supposed to force that on to the community to protect the citizens from each other. And but the state has no business legislating the first 4 commandments, which God you choose to worship, and whether you want to bow down to an idol or not, that's your business. And if you want to use God's name, you can call him whatever you want, and or none at all. And which day you want to go to church. So bottom line is, that's Roger Williams. He took a stand, and they used his writings as a framework when James Madison and those guys wrote the First Amendment to the Constitution. Now, today, there's a movement in Christianity that wants to pretend that all these men were Christians and that America is supposed to be a Christian nation, forcing Christianity on everybody. And that's just a lie. There's no truth in that statement. And bottom line is, they believe in freedom of religion. And so, bottom line is, there's a movement within Christianity to destroy the First Amendment, because the First Amendment protects, religious minorities like me. I'm a Seventh-day Adventist, and I keep all of God's commandments, statutes, judgments, the law of Moses. I believe in remembering the law of Moses, and I keep the Sabbath from Friday sunset to Saturday sunset, just like the Jews have been doing for thousands of years. And I talk about the dawn Sabbath, and I wonder, what did Adam and Eve do on Friday, on the 6th day of the week, when the sun set? Did they keep on working? Because they didn't even have any light. They didn't have any electricity. They didn't have fire. And so it was dark. And so all their Sabbath preparation was taken care of before the sun even set. And so anyway, the dawn Sabbath, I believe, is the false teaching. Sabbath is from Friday sunset to Saturday sunset. But anyway, that's another subject. But I want to go back to Charlie Kirk and why it's important to think about this subject. It's because right now they're starting a false revival in the name of a man that wasn't even shot in the throat, that he's still alive. And they're trying to convince, while people are crying over his death, he's laughing, and he's not even dead. They hit him in a trap door underneath the platform where he was sitting, and the location of his gravesite is some kind of a top secret place, because they're afraid somebody's going to dig it up and find out that he's not even dead. And so the reason why it's important is because you got to understand the strategy of Satan. Satan's strategy is to have this narrative where a homosexual shot a Christian in the throat and killed him. And that's just a completely false narrative. It's just that the Jesuits are pushing this narrative so that people can say, wow, look at these homosexuals are trying to kill Christians. We need to legislate Christianity and force everybody to be a Christian. But that won't work, and Forced religion doesn't work. If a church needs the power of the state to make people go to church, all it does is prove that the church doesn't have the power of God, and it doesn't have the Holy Spirit, the third person of the Godhead, to convict people to go to church, or to woo them in the love of God to want to go to church even at the cost of their lives. So that's the kind of church I want to go to, is a church that doesn't use any civil powers to try to force me to go to church. And any church that tries to force me to go to church, well, I would like to think that I'm going to have enough faith to suffer the death penalty for refusing to go to their church. Anyway, so yeah, that's the strategy. You can Google it. There's lots of videos, and if anybody wants to know, I can share videos with you about the hologram scam and how Charlie was alive and moving around and everything after the shooting, right there on the stage when they lifted him up and put him in the back of a limousine. And they didn't even have any ambulances there on site. And every time you have a big public event like that, you always have to have some EMTs there, and they didn't have any, of course, because it's all a scam, because he's not dead. And sorry, but while you're crying, Charlie Kirk is laughing. And I'm laughing because it's all a big joke, it's all a facade, it's all a Hollywood production. And I'm sorry that you've been lied to and duped. But you got to understand the agenda if you really want to believe what I'm believing, in which I have plenty of video evidence proving it. If you want to believe Charlie Kirk is a high-level Freemason. You've had a form of witchcraft woven around your brain using television. That's why the subtitle of the movie Snake Eyes, which has a name, a guy that's assassinated in that movie named Charles Kirkland, and he's shot in the left side of his throat at a boxing match. And there's a boxer in the movie whose name is Tyler, which is Tyler the Assassin or something like that. That's because that movie was done in 1998 and Charlie was only 5 years old. That means they were grooming Charlie for all these years to be the man that he is. And he was instructed by the same guys who destroyed the college system in America, by the same guys who are behind pushing the woke agenda, by the same people who are trying to destroy the fabric of America with immorality and transgenderism and all that. The same guys that are doing that, well, they're on the same team as the guys who groomed Charlie Kirk so that he could be an instructor and sit there and teach people and pretend to be a Christian. And so they got controlled opposition going on, and he's a Freemason, and so is Trump, and so is Charlie Kirk's father, and so is Candace Owens, and so is Charlie Kirk's wife. She's also a Freemason. So they basically tricked you guys because you believe your TV, you watch it too much, and you haven't been wanting to keep the law of Moses, which, the Bible says, remember the law of Moses. So if you have been remembering the law of Moses and studying it all the time and trying to learn and ask Yeshua how to keep it, because he said he didn't come to get rid of it. If you had been doing that, then you would have been more awake to recognize the deception that's happened here. But because most likely you're following a lawless version of Christianity that tries to use every passage you can think of from the Apostle Paul's writings to prove your lawless doctrines, hating God's Sabbath, refusing to keep the feast days, eating pork and bacon and all that stuff. And basically you're swept into a big false revival, all in the name of a man who isn't even dead. Who's a big fraudster and an actor, and who was groomed all his life to play the role that he's playing now, and he's alive. So I know a lot of people just don't agree with me, and I don't really care. I'm used to walking with Yeshua, and he leads me. I don't need the support of many people. And one with God is a majority. So that's the way I look at this whole situation, and I'm very sorry that you were so vulnerable and gullible and easily deceived by this mesmerism that they tried to play on everybody with hologram technology. Yeah, so that's what's happening. I hope you take heed to what I'm saying here, that you will actually start reading the law of Moses and obeying it and exposing this lie of Charlie Kirk, because there's so many people caught up in this deception. They believe that it's true. They believe that Charlie Kirk is dead. And they're real sad about it, you know, and they're making t-shirts of him. And did you know he's speaking? They even have him speaking in mega churches on video, like if he's alive still, and everybody's standing up and giving him a standing ovation. This is all a total fraud. And I'm really sorry if you got swept up into it, but bottom line is, we need to protest the Catholic Church and all of its false doctrines, including Sunday sacredness and the state of the dead, which all those Sunday Christians are wide open to receive, you know, necromancy, visions and sermons from Charlie, because they think he's alive in heaven, but he's not. He's dead, because Ecclesiastes 9:5 says, the dead know not anything. The living know that they shall die, but the dead know not anything. And so that's where this is leading. That's the reason why he's trying to galvanize support from the Christian community that are deluded, that are demoralized by sin, that have been rejecting the Adventist message for 170 years, despising the truth of God's word, and they're just a bunch of deluded people anymore. And they can't tell the truth from a lie. So try to wake them up in the mercy of God. Blessings and success. And Shabbat Shalom. Happy Sabbath, everybody.
Who runs the world? Who runs the world? Well, the scriptures say that Satan actually runs the world. He is the prince of this world.
For a guy that knows that, he sure makes a funny-looking hand sign here. You want to see what that hand symbol is? That has to do with that? Oh, it's just the sigil of Lucifer hand sign. You know, the one that all the Luciferians make and all the Freemasons make. You know, all the Freemasons make.
I'm one of the Masons of Turning Point USA.
One more time, Candace, for all the people that you have deceived.
I'm one of the Masons of Turning Point USA.
And you know what other symbol of these guys and the Luciferians like? You know, the one that goes with the sigil of Lucifer? They like 666. You know, the symbol they all make. The symbol they all make. 666. You know, the one they all make. All of them. All of them. But I'm sure it's just a coincidence that his hand perfectly fits right into that little triangular pyramid. Entertainment only, people. He holds his hands like that because it's comfy and they're all just saying it's gonna be okay. Entertainment only.
There are a lot of similarities between the recent assassination of Charlie Kirk and some of the main events in the 1998 film Snake Eyes. Please tell me the odds of all of these synchronicities lining up between the two. The film has a boxing match and assassination that took place on September 10th, the exact date of Charlie Kirk's real-life execution and assassination. The boxer in the film, nicknamed the Executioner, also has the name Tyler, which is the name of Charlie Kirk's accused assassin, Tyler Robinson. In the movie, a spectator in the crowd gives a hand signal to coordinate with the sniper. Videos of Charlie Kirk's assassination show a similar spectator gesture that some claim matches this exactly. Charlie Kirk was shot in the neck, and not only was the victim in the film also shot in the neck, but the person shot in the movie is also named Charles Kirkland, a near identical name to Charlie Kirk. The film features a tropical storm called Jezebel. 2 days prior to Charlie Kirk's death, Jezebel magazine published a viral article titled, "We Paid Some Etsy Witches to Curse Charlie Kirk," a character attack on Charlie that drew massive attention, you could even say a media storm. Snake Eyes was filmed at Donald Trump's Taj Mahal casino, which is also a synchronicity as Kirk was a key figure in Trump's 2024 re-election campaign, often credited with maybe even solidifying his victory in real life. Charlie Kirk's memorial in real life was held at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona, a venue frequently described as resembling a coiled snake due to its curved serpentine roof design, echoing the film's title, Snake Eyes. The slogan of the movie was "Believe everything except your eyes," which is ironic because there are a lot of people questioning the narrative we are being told about the Charlie Kirk shooting in real life. Lastly, at the memorial of Charlie Kirk, Trump and Elon were seen showing the same hand signal as Nicolas Cage was on the official movie poster. Please give me the odds of all of these similarities and synchronicities between the two events.
The odds of all those synchronicities happening by chance? 1 in 987 trillion, give or take. Slimmer than winning the lottery twice in a row like. That's my rough math, stacking every detail. Names matching almost exactly, dates lining up, hand signals, the next shot, Jezebel storm tying to a hit piece article, Trump links from casino to campaign, that snake-shaped stadium, the slogan flipping on real doubts, and Trump Elon mimicking Cage's poster pose at the memorial? If it's not scripted fate, someone's pulling strings hard. Crazy, huh?
There was a movie in 1998 called Snake Eyes with Nicolas Cage. I'm pretty sure some of you guys have seen this. In the movie, they're at a boxing match. A politician is assassinated in the movie, and his name is Charles Kirkland. Okay, think about Charlie Kirk. This is very, very weird. Okay, he was shot on the left side of his neck. The film takes place on September 10th. Rob, that's the
date of the fight.
No,
this is what we were talking about yesterday.
This is what we were talking about yesterday. Rob, that's the poster. And then the boxer who's in on the plan, who's doing a diversion, he wakes up on the ring. His name is Tyler, like Tyler Robinson, and he's called the Executioner. Okay, Jesus. Weird. And then the tropical storm that hits in the film is called Hurricane Jezebel. And for some of you guys that saw Megan Kelly just did a piece, that's the name of the online magazine that allegedly hired witches in August to put a hex on Charlie. And the film, parts of the film were filmed at the Trump Taj Mahal and Hotel Casino. And the secret camera which films the assassination, but the videographer doesn't let anyone know. And guess what the tagline is of the movie? Believe everything except your eyes.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to part 2 of the Charlie Kirk hologram projection. Now, as you remember, in part 1, I showed you how this guy climbs up here and takes down the hologram projector. And then I went on to give you images of what these hologram projectors look like. And then I went on to show you how this chair glitches right through the table in the area where this hologram is taking place. As you can see right here up close, the seat of the chair glitches right through the top of that table, just disappears right through it. And that can only happen with CGI, green screens, AI, and hologram projectors. I know a lot of you gonna say, well, Terry, if it was a hologram, how was he walking around passing out hats and talking to people? Because he was walking around passing out hats and talking to people. Only the assassination was a hologram. Here's what you're forgetting. You're forgetting about the trap door right by his feet underneath that little canopy there. Now, I know I showed you this in part 1, but I'm just briefly showing you again to remind you of the trap door. Actually, it's a utility room where they go down to do maintenance, I think on the fountain or something. But point being, I just want to remind you of this trap door.
This is the courtyard where it all happened. It's now open to the public again. There's lots of people coming here, placing flowers, cards, things like that. The university is already making some changes. They're replacing the grass where Charlie Kirk was speaking with pavers.
Now, even if this trapdoor doesn't play a part in this hoax at all, it's awful convenient for it to be right there where they were at. You know what I'm saying? But I believe it played a part in the hoax. And like I said before, that's why all the security team surrounded Charlie, and they blurred it to where you couldn't see it. And now I'm getting ready to prove that to you. Now, here's where I need you to pay attention. I know it's hard to watch, but pay attention. See all the blood pour out of his neck onto the shirt right there? This is the hologram part. This is the hologram part that you're watching, okay? See all the blood pouring out on his shirt, out on his neck, a hole in his neck, blood coming out of his neck, pouring onto the shirt. Get that image in your head because it's very important. This is the hologram part. Now let's watch it from the front angle. Pay very close attention. Watch the blood come pouring out of his neck onto that shirt. There's the hole. Here comes the blood pouring out onto the shirt. Now here's why I proved to you that what you just watched was a hologram. Now, this is where the security team surrounds Charlie and they pick him up and they're taking off with him. Now watch when we zoom in on this footage. What do you see on the neck? What do you see on the shirt? Nothing. Where'd the blood go? Where'd the bullet hole go? Where'd all the blood go? It went on the shirt. I don't see it anywhere, do you? Nor do you see the black letters that say freedom on the front of the shirt. Now, you know we got some haters that's going to say, but you're not showing the left side of his shirt. Yes, there is the left side of his shirt in slow motion. Now, that's the middle of his shirt. Let me rewind it back. There's the left side of his shirt. No blood on it whatsoever. So, get over it. Because it was a hologram, people. You just seen it with your own eyes. No blood whatsoever. And that's why when they were carrying him to the SUV, there wasn't a trail of blood nowhere because he wasn't shot. It's all a big hoax, people. Whether you like it or not, you have been fooled. Everyone, thanks for watching and have a good day. Good evening, everyone. I know a lot of you have watched a few minutes of this video when I posted it the first time and then I deleted it. Even though it had 24,000 views, I didn't want to delete it, but I don't care about the views. That's not me. I don't care about the views. Okay, so now I'm going to do it the right way, okay? There's a lot of things that I didn't add to the video I should have. I tried to rush it, do it quickly, just got off of work, was tired, but guess what? I'm here to redo it, okay? So this is the redo. This is the re-upload, whatever you want to call it. Now, let me say this in the beginning, okay? This is my theory. This is not disinformation. This is not a lie. This is not me trying to trick you. This is what I believe. This is my idea. That's what a theory is, an idea of how something happened. Doesn't mean I'm lying to you or trying to give you disinformation, okay? So let's get that straight from the beginning. Okay, now let's move on with it. Now, I'm sure all of you have noticed online that a lot of people are talking about, why are these people allowed to be in this canopy? Why isn't this marked off and taped off as a crime scene? And why is this guy in the white shirt taking the most very important camera down? What you think is the most very important camera there, why is he taking it down? Well, here's why. Because it's not a crime scene. A crime didn't take place here, and that's not a camera. Now, before I tell you what it is, I want you to get a real good look at it as he's taking it down. Anybody figure out what it is yet? Okay, here's what it is. It's called a hologram projector. And if you don't believe me, you can go look them up online. And they're not cheap. They're not cheap. Usually $20,000 to $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 for these things. And they come in different varieties. Now, Hollywood calls them hologram stage projectors. Now, you see how Charlie's little tent there is a perfect square? And as you can tell, it's 10 foot squared, 10 foot all the way around on each square. And it's about 9 foot tall. That's because it has to be for the projection to work. Now, let's explain.
For smaller spaces, the projectors can be configured with mirrors to elongate the projection path and maintain picture integrity. Eyeliner displays ideally require a minimum footprint of 10 feet square and a height of 9 feet to show full-size human figures. What you are seeing is a reflected image which is so true and realistic to the original, it has become known as a virtual image. Many people perceive what they are seeing now as a 3D hologram. In fact, it is a 21st century take on a mid-19th century visual effect known as Pepper's Ghost, showing now on the relay screens. Thanks in part to the amazing optical properties of the eyeliner foil, combined with the light and picture output of Christie Digital high-definition projectors, the image has depth and opacity that actually supersedes the scale and definition of traditional 3D hologram.
Like I said before, 10 foot squared, 9 foot tall. This canopy was made this size for a purpose because it is a hologram stage projection that you guys were watching. Now, don't get me wrong, there are different types of holograms, okay? I'm just showing you one from like 7 years ago, the technology 7 years ago. Now, let me show you some different technology on bigger stages. Now, I'm gonna skip through a lot of this video due to copyright infringement. And also, I don't want this video to be 30 minutes long. I just want to get to the point. I want you to understand how this can be done, okay? If you want to watch the full version of these hologram videos, I'll leave the links in the comments so you don't think you're being deceived, okay? Now let's move on.
These performers are holograms.
Every series, we take one step closer to achieving all of the sci-fi dreams.
It's pretty cool. You'll never have to miss a gig again. The gig can come to you.
We traveled to Paris to meet Ian O'Connell, director of the company that put this show on.
I recall we were being asked to produce a show from London to Florida where the interaction between the musicians and the audience would be as natural as two people being in the same room. And for all of us, it was an experience that we'll never forget.
So how do they beam this band in live?
It's incredible that this really is a remote live gig. The signal from London takes less than a third of a second to go all the way around the world and be projected as a hologram on the stage in the US. As well as the hologram making it feel like the band are actually in the room with the audience, the band can see the audience and actually interact and respond to what they're doing.
This is a whole new take on live music. But how are the images so good that it looks like the band are really on stage?
They look so lifelike because of the angle of the light and the reflective material called mylar that creates this holographic effect.
The mylar screen is semi-transparent. The reflective surface reflects the images where the light falls on it, but where the light doesn't fall on it, the audience can see through it. So it looks like there's a person standing on the stage and that there's no screen at all.
The projector receives the video signal and projects it down from the ceiling.
What I really love about this is that you get the effect of a 3D hologram without those stupid glasses.
I still believe we've only scratched the surface with this technology. I think we will see pop-up holograms everywhere.
That's it, the holograms are here. We're officially in the future.
Now, let me show you how good Hollywood's hologram projection stages can pull this off and make you think you're watching somebody who's there who's not really there.
I love being together, although, are we really together? Are we all together in this room?
Are we? I feel like we're connected in some way, but maybe.
For anyone watching, can you guess which one of us isn't really here? Welcome back!
I'm the one in Los Angeles.
And if you guys want to know how that awesome, groundbreaking technology works, just go to our website at thetruebarrymoreshow.com.
It's all smoke and mirrors. The world is a stage, people. Get over it. You've been lied to. Now, I know a lot of you are going to say, well, Terry, if it was a hologram, how was he walking around passing out hats and talking to people? Because he was walking around passing out hats and talking to people. Only the assassination was a hologram. Here's what you're forgetting. You're forgetting about the trap door right by his feet underneath that little canopy there.
This is the place he got shot.
This is the courtyard where it all happened. It's now open to the public again. There's lots of people coming here, placing flowers, cards, things like that. The university is already making some changes. They're replacing the grass where Charlie Kirk was speaking with pavers. And there are several petitions online asking the school to make this into a permanent memorial.
Charlie Kirk.
You see, the trap door is the whole key. Yes, Charlie was passing out hats. Yes, Charlie was there. But when it was time for the hologram to come on, this is when Charlie went down into this little utility room or whatever this is underneath this trap door, the stage area where he was sitting. Okay, the assassination took place with the hologram, and then if you notice, all the guys, when he supposedly falls to the ground, all the security guys surround him. You can't see nothing. They raise the trap door up, and Charlie comes out. That's why they blur the videos, so you can't see him come out, and then they pack him to the SUV. Not an ambulance, not anything like it would normally be, to the SUV without a trail of blood anywhere, because he never got shot. He was down in there the whole time. The hologram part of the assassination was taking place. It's really, really simple. It's complicated, but it's simple if you think about it common sensely. That's how Charlie was able to interact with the people there, because he could hear what they were saying and he could answer them and interact with them, just like the musicians from London to Florida.
It's incredible that this really is a remote live gig. The signal from London takes less than a third of a second to go all the way around the world and be projected as a hologram on the stage in the US. As well as the hologram making it feel like the band are actually in the room with the audience, the band can see the audience and actually interact and respond to what they're doing.
Now, I already know what you're going to say. All y'all non-believers going to say, well, if he was passing out hats and doing all that, how could he disappear and go underground into that trap door in basically the little maintenance area that goes underground, which means your ass can go under there? Very simple. You know what I'm saying? How'd he do that without anybody seeing him do it? Well, have you ever heard of an invisible cloak? Maybe that whole tent had an invisible cloak around it. Are you familiar with that? Probably not. Doesn't mean you stupid, doesn't mean you dumb, just means you illiterate to the technology. Now let me show you.
And see how does it work. It works straight away as soon as you take out a bag. You can see, you can make yourself invisible behind this clock very easily. Just use it. It's a little bit of windy right now and very hard to use it because it's flowing, but let's try again and see whether I can use it. Yeah. You can make yourself invisible. You can make yourself invisible.
Now you can get on here and make all the videos about me being a liar and giving you disinformation all you want to. But I showed you what I showed you. That's my theory. What's a theory? It's an idea. It's something that could happen. Doesn't mean it's a fact. It's just my theory, okay? So don't get on here and say I'm a liar. I'm giving you disinformation. I'm giving you what I believe because I understand the technology that we have, okay? All you're doing is showing the real shield that you truly are. That's all you're doing. You're showing that you a bot, a troll, a shield. That's all you're doing, making yourself look bad. And the only people that believe you is the dumb bots. What's a dumb bot? It means a human who halfway awake, but they will consider and believe whatever you tell them, whatever makes sense to them, because they don't understand technology. They don't understand what's going on. So they choose to believe one scenario, one theory. That's all that is. That's why you seen the chair morph through the table, because they was still in the hologram area. They hadn't shut it off yet. And they was doing this by remote. Now you
arm that raises up right here. It's real skinny. It looks exactly like his arm. What is that? What is that? And why are these three guys just standing there like there's no emotion on their face? They all have sunglasses.
Presidents were chosen by ballot. They told you presidents were chosen by ballot boxes and patriotic parades. But every figure who's ever sat behind the desk in the Oval Office was raised in the lodges of Masonry. Not a coincidence. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's a lineage, a brotherhood of oaths. And among them, none has been more brazen, none has been more flamboyant in flashing codes than Donald Trump. He doesn't veil it subtly. He flaunts it. Hand signs and double-tongued rhetoric, playing both sides like a seasoned magus. America itself is not what you think it is. It's not a nation of liberty, though that was the costume it wore. It's a corporation, a corporate temple, chartered through banks and hidden trusts. And what is its main product? It's not oil, it's not steel, not even technology. Its chief commodity is the organic currency of its citizens, the life force, the vitality, the human spirit itself. Every birth certificate becomes collateral, every signature a silent contract. The domes of Washington, the temples they call capitals, all repurposed as Masonic machinery, resonators to siphon and redirect the people's energy into their current. Freemasonry is painted as a fraternity of brotherhood and charity, but peel back the apron, and you find a darker current. And within Masonry, they tell you there are degrees, 33 of them by official count. But here's the trick. The lower initiates, even those who reach the 33rd degree, are deceived into thinking they stand at the summit. They believe they have scaled the mountain, but in reality, they are still standing at the foothills. The true summit is hidden, occupied by the bloodline that sits above degrees, the parasitic bloodline that has ruled everything for longer than you can imagine. And it's the same bloodline from which your so-called presidents descend, without exception, Donald Trump included. The figurehead changes, but the lineage stays the same. And yet, Trump has played his role differently. He has updated the Masonic playbook for the modern stage. He did not hide in subtle gestures alone. He brought sorcery into the center ring of politics. All of his chants, all of his slogans, all of his rallies, ritual theater disguised as campaigning. He said, "Let's make America great again," a phrase repeated like a mantra, looped endlessly, drawing billions into consent. Words as incantation, using language as spell work. He didn't simply run for office. He conducted a mass initiation, binding the collective into a false golden age. And what he promised was revival, but what he will deliver will be a descent, a guided march into the digital abyss. Just look at his hands. Again and again, he flashes the inverted triangle. To the untrained eye, it's just a quirk. To the initiated, it's a proclamation. The downward pointing triangle is one of the oldest glyphs, the sign of the feminine principle, water, receptivity, the womb itself, the yoni, the gate of life. A sacred symbol that once honored creation has been inverted and refashioned into a badge of allegiance. By holding that mudra before the cameras, Trump signals his bond. He damn sure isn't nervous. He's never fidgeting. He's speaking in the silent language of the order. And this takes us deeper, back to the goddess from which the symbol originates, Ishtar, goddess of fertility that governs descent and rebirth. She is the portal, the womb, the gatekeeper of cycles. To them, Her womb is not sanctum of creation, but the trap of incarnation, the matrix that binds souls to matter. They worship her because they seek dominion over that gate, and this ties to their central myth of Haram Abif, the master builder of Solomon's temple. He was slain and raised, the initiate who passes through death to resurrection. His drama echoes Ishtar's descent into the underworld. The feminine womb and the masculine builder. Bound together, they form the twin pillars of Masonic sorcery. When Trump flashes the inverted triangle, he is proclaiming loyalty to both currents. The womb of Ishtar and the builder's word. His rhetoric of building and greatness is not politics. It's ritual theater. It is Haram reborn, swearing before the pantheon that his temple will not be of stone, but of circuitry. The cosmic portal of life has been hijacked, no longer honored as divine, but inverted into a sigil of control. Trump is bold because he doesn't whisper his allegiance. He shouts it through every gesture. Where others cloak their symbolism in subtle robes, he drapes it openly. Where others played the quiet fraternity man, he plays the loud magus, the sorcerer who turns politics into spell work. And now billions follow his voice, thinking he's a savior, a warrior for freedom, not knowing they march into circuitry, into the digital labyrinth. Trump is not simply a politician, he is the boldest Freemason of them all. The magi who turned the campaign trail into a ritual theater, the corporation into a temple of siphoning, the inverted triangle into his banner. The descent continues, the corporation feeds, and unless you see through the spell, you'll never realize that the one you thought was leading you to greatness has guided you into the abyss.